Aw yeah, Sam and Max Hit the Road. This was like my favorite game growing up. Made by LucasArts Entertainment.
In the arms of the angel.
In its heyday, LucasArts Entertainment was responsible for the best point-and-click adventure games that you couldn't help but play. Day of the Tentacle, Full Throttle, and let's not forget Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis, which is seen as the best game ever released by LucasArts. Sam & Max is based off a comic series of the same name by Steve Purcell that debuted in 1987 and ran for several years. After the success of Hit the Road, a Saturday morning cartoon series was released, Sam & Max Freelance Police, and it sadly only ran for one season.
6 seasons and a movie!
You play as Sam, an anthropomorphic dog in a fancy blue suit voiced by Bill Farmer, better known as the voice of Goofy for the last 20 some odd years, and his malefactor friend Max.
I'm not a malefactor, I'm a lagomorph.
Right, voiced by Nick Jameson, who was also Gus on Mission Hill. Anyone else remember that? Okay, fine. He was the Russian president on 24. You happy? You get that reference? Sam and Max are freelance police. They get jobs from the mayor, I guess? He calls and gives you instructions to meet a bonded city courier on the street. No, not that one. After picking up 2 items in your office, you never have to come back to this location. Ever. A light bulb and cash. But you should. There's a bunch of hidden gems in the office. If you take the sandwich, Max yells,
Me.
then feeds his ant farm. You can turn on the TV and mess with the antenna. You have a message on the answering machine that's different every time you play.
Oh boy, we've got a message. Gee, I hope it's something eerily provocative.
Sam, it's your mother calling to wish you a good morning. Be careful, honey, and try not to get shot today, okay?
Doesn't she know I'm old enough to make my own decisions about getting shot?
Even when you exit the office, there's something funny.
We don't go upstairs. Not since the accident.
You go outside and meet a cat? The cat is the courier? What? But the cat can't hawk up the orders, so you get to learn an amazing mechanic. To get the message, use Max on cat. And what does he do? He shoves his hand into the cat and pulls out the order. There are several parts of the game that use this mechanic.
Gratuitous acts of senseless violence are my forte. You're such an adorable urchin, Max.
You read the orders and off you go in an indestructible DeSoto. And you never have to come back. As long as you grab the light bulb and the money from the office before you leave, there is not one point in the rest of the game where you need to return. With that, we get to the map view. The map populates with locations as you discover them, such as when you find the snow globe for the mystery vortex, or by simply talking to someone.
Where can we find your uncle?
I don't know. He disappeared a short time after he helped build the largest ball of twine on Earth.
You also have 3 Snuckies locations across the map. These are only useful for a couple things over the course of the game, none of which are getting gas. You go across this map more times than I can count to solve puzzles. Back to the Snuckies. They have interesting little Easter eggs in them. First, each location is staffed by Harold from Day of the Tentacle. Just a different version in each shop. They each have different pieces of stained glass, and a different fat guy eating ice cream. You can also buy a mini game at each location. I could not possibly tell you how many hours of my childhood were dumped into Sam and Max Dress Up and the Battleship Clone. The actual plot of this game takes you to a carnival in Maine-ish. A small cutscene introduces you to our villain, Conroy Bumpus, a British country singer with the Napoleon complex. You're there to find a Bigfoot that's escaped the sideshow with the giraffe lady. Love story for the ages. That's our premise, and we've got to both point and click our way through a nationwide adventure of discovery, tourist traps, and fish gulf. After the carnival, you have a few choices of where to go next. But I usually go to the World of Fish, where you meet a Woody Allen-esque fisherman. He gives you another possible way to find the largest ball of twine on your map. It's a nice way to cover the bases to get you to that destination. After stealing a bucket of fish, we go to the largest ball of twine on Earth and head up to the diner and are immediately met with a wonderful meta joke.
Hey, look! That's one long loose end. Too bad we can't reach it from this side of the deck. You always need a large piece of string in games like this.
After exploring here, we head down to the awesome capital of the world, Florida, and the Gator Golf Paradise, where we yet again find Conroy Bumpus. The golf place had a Bigfoot too, and it's missing. Why does this guy want a Bigfoot so bad? Does he want to ride it like Bran? We fight his bodyguard and Max is sent into the Bigfoot cage. And this sequence is just amazing. The reason we stole the bucket of fish was so here Sam can actually make the gators move by hitting fish into their vicinity and make a path for himself to walk across and save Max. Though keep this in mind, it takes a minute or two. Sam also gets to dunk Max while pummeling poor innocent fish.
Hey! Nya, can't dunk me!
When saved, we learn of the mystery vortex in Washington. But before we go there, let's head back to the world of fish and have Woody Allen catch us. This takes us to the largest ball of twine on Earth because there's a helicopter that takes this dude's fish there. LucasArts Adventure Game! Wait, the DeSoto is at the World of Fish. How do we go anywhere? Now, off to the Mystery Vortex. The Mystery Vortex was awful for me as a kid. It was the wall. Everything is weird here. You change size constantly. Clicking to walk around is far weirder, and it's almost like Sam will go somewhere sorta like where you clicked when you tell him to go there. There are doors that Sam needs to enter to find Shavul, and he has to be the right size to enter the door. But to do that, you need to change the color of these big magnets underground, which control the mystery vortex. You change the color of the room to match the door you want to enter, leave the magnet room, and enter each door hoping that RNGesus grants you passage to the next area of the game. And the colors of the doors change each time you play this game. And if you get the wrong door, it's some odd other dimensional voiceover.
Stop turning your head inside out, Max. I can't! Let's leave.
When you finally find Shavul, he will talk about Bruno, and once again you have an NPC telling you to go to the world's largest ball of twine. This one location has 3 people telling you to go there. It's very important and probably the most densely populated spot of tips and clues and puzzles. We come here specifically to find Frog Rock. Shavul gave us some magic powder to spread with Bigfoot fur samples. Once at Frog Rock, you spread these samples in the magic dust and something wonderful happens.
Sure gets dark quickly around here. I don't think this is a natural occurrence, Max. In fact, I think we're witnessing a celestial convergence of some sort. Do you think it'll make that rock look more like a frog? This means something, Sam.
An absolute egomaniac, Bumpus has his own Graceland. You sneak around his house, pretty much stealing anything not nailed down. You're even forced a history lesson when you steal a picture of John Muir.
Say, Sam, just who is John Muir? Who's John Muir? Hey, guys, this dope doesn't know who John Muir is.
You gotta be kidding.
What a maroon.
Why did I have to know who John Muir was? I was like 9. We then watch as Bumpus, Bruno, and Trixie perform a country song, which is weird because you realize he's British. He mentions Cornwall. A British country singer, Elvis type. Who even is this guy? The heads in here even join in as his chorus. At this point, we free Bruno and Trixie, and we find out about the Bigfoot party. Only problem is, it's Bigfoot's.
And their dates.
So, as any good detective, when told not to go somewhere, Sam decides,
Let's go.
Here we meet Evelyn Morrison, famed B-movie star. She gives us brochures with Evelyn Morrison's autograph on them. These give you 2 new locations, Mount Rushmore and the Celebrity Vegetable Museum. Going to Mount Rushmore, you actually get to bungee jump out of one of the president's noses. Always wanted to be George Washington's snot. You do this so that you can get parts for a Bigfoot costume so you can get into the Bigfoot party. Let's talk about this lady who runs the bungee jumping. I think she was the original idea for how Brian from Family Guy can just have sex with human women. This woman wants Sam hard.
But I'm sure a great big hunk of fur like yourself would have no problem.
Bye.
So long, cutie.
So, what do you think?
It fits you just fine.
Ooh, stand back. She may pounce.
It's a danger I face every day.
Then we go to the Celebrity Vegetable Museum. We ask a lady to grow a zucchini squash in the shape of John Muir. We'll get to that. There's a lot of weird coming up. Here's my favorite weird exploit in the game. She says you have to come back in a short while, but if you go to the overworld and then right back, it's ready.
Where's my John Muir vegetable?
While you're here, you also need to grab a Conroy Bumpus eggplant to help obtain the last part of the Bigfoot costume. When you go back to Bumpusville, Sam does a wonderful parody of the opening of Raiders of the Lost Ark, and you steal one of Bumpus's wigs. You're of course caught and kicked out. Now that we have all the pieces of the Bigfoot costume, we head to...
It says,
Close enough for jazz.
Sam and Max put on the suit we made, and the bouncer lets them in, seeing as it's a pretty good Bigfoot costume. And we learn of the plight of the Bigfoot. They're out of woodland and are therefore out of places to hide. They'll surely go extinct. The entire thing feels like an allegory to climate change 30 years early.
The seemingly slow encroachment of mankind and all that his many living styles entail seemed like a vague and distant problem. A problem for future generations of Yeti to solve. Blithely we sat back, ignoring our own inner call for action. Tradition and the status quo were our excuses for complacency. The certainty of not just losing our way of life, but possibly our very lives. And the demise of our entire race is now becoming a reality.
Oh jeez, what the hell's up with them for?
While lurking around stealing things, Bumpus shows up and holds us hostage, thinking that we're a Bigfoot. When Sam reveals himself to not in fact be a Bigfoot, Bumpus and his bodyguards steal the costume to try to infiltrate the party themselves. But now we have the most finicky part of the game, where you have to click the exact right spot to have Max trap the pair in the freezer. This takes forever. But once trapped and frozen, the chief discovers us, and to thank us for our good deed, he makes Sam and Max honorary Bigfoot chiefs, allowing us to roam freely around the party. The chief shares the story of their ultimate salvation. The Bigfoot need our help to find their purpose. We decide to help the Bigfoot people by assisting them with their final crisis. Now comes the culmination of everything you've been doing, the ultimate point-and-click adventure game ending. You have to collect a bunch of items that seem like nothing from around the map, and when collected, these items are answers to the totem poles.
Where's my John Muir vegetable?
I told you that was going to come up. You hand each one of these items to the chief, he puts them in the mystical hot tub, and with each solution, a totem pole disappears. Once you give him the last item to solve the riddle of the last totem pole, it's hands off. The rest of the game happens without you. And with a quote-unquote Bigfoot sacrifice, the Northwest is a gigantic forest once again. Nature has returned and the Bigfoot are able to roam free. And with that, the story ends. Sam and Max are thanked for their help, and Bruno and Trixie run off to enjoy their lives. We're left shooting targets at the carnival during the end credits. There's no goal other than your own desire to shoot all the targets, which I've always loved because I like the Easter eggs. Look, it's R2. Bet you didn't expect to see him here. But that was not the end of Sam and Max. In 2005, LucasArts' contract ended, and with Purcell and Sam and Max were reborn at Telltale Games.
In the arms of the angel.
In 2008, Sam and Max Save the World was released. There were 3 full games to come out from Telltale Games: Sam & Max Save the World, Sam & Max Beyond Time and Space, and Sam & Max The Devil's Playhouse, each with 5 or 6 episodes. Sam & Max is such a weird game to play. It's nonsensical, ridiculous, crude, vulgar, and I could play it for days. The noir jazz is such a great soundtrack. The set dressing in every scene makes each location a piece of art. Now, it's not without its flaws. The mouth sync is nowhere near close. Controls are weird with a few inconsistencies. At the largest ball of twine on Earth, you have to use the elevator when in the restaurant, but you can just walk into it from the tram. I've left a lot out of this video because I want people to play it. This is such a funny game that spoilers would ruin such an amazing thing. There aren't any moon logic puzzles in Hit the Road, nothing that doesn't make sense once you put it together. There are puzzles that are a bit of a stretch, but this certainly isn't Monkey Island. There's a lot to love here. Games like this aren't made anymore. There isn't a calling for them. Any new versions of games from this era of gaming have gone away from the point-and-click adventure puzzle dynamic and moved into mini-games. I think people would benefit from playing these games. They're challenging, innocently funny, and abundant. I mean, look at all these games. Please don't ask me to play them all. Thank you for letting me tell you all about one of my favorite games from my childhood. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and follow me on all the social media and stuff. There will be more of this coming.